All I want to know, I'm not here to hurt anyone. Okay? Murdered.
When I bled the life from his body, I wish you could have seen your brother's eyes.
I told you the weather was going to be bad for you.
The film opens with scenic shots of a picturesque island, accompanied by smooth jazz music played by Nora, a young, talented performer from Chicago. She's seen performing for Manuel Alvarez, the island's most influential business mogul. Impressed by her talent, Manuel offers Nora an exclusive position at his club, promising to pay her triple her Chicago earnings. Nora is intrigued but uncertain about the offer. During this moment, Akeem, a bartender employed by Manuel for 2 months, accidentally spills wine on her. He apologizes, and Nora reassures him that it's not his fault. However, Manuel reacts violently, slitting Akeem's throat as a show of his ruthless dominance and zero tolerance for mistakes. Horrified, Nora feels cornered and accepts Manuel's offer. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Officer Mark Etheridge and his chatty partner Phil complete a successful undercover drug operation. Just as Mark makes a joke about Phil, he receives a call from his hometown. It's tragic news about his younger brother, Akeem. Devastated, Mark reflects on their close bond, forged since their parents moved to the island. The two were inseparable until a personal tragedy, Mark's unborn daughter's death, drove him to leave for LA 7 years earlier. Grief-stricken, Mark rushes back to the island for the funeral. Standing beside his distraught mother, he vows to find the killer responsible for his brother Carl's untimely death. The following day, Mark meets with an old friend, Nate, who is now the police chief of the island. Nate reveals that the investigation into Carl's death has stalled due to a lack of resources but mentions suspicions that foreign gangs, likely tied to the drug trade, could be involved. Soon after, Mark reconnects with his ex-girlfriend, Akila, a skilled karate instructor who warns him that Carl's death is linked to Manuel Alvarez, the dangerous mob boss who controls the island's drug and weapons trafficking. Akila tells Mark that Carl had previously worked at Alvarez's nightclub before his murder. Determined to uncover the truth, Mark confronts Alvarez at the nightclub.
My brother worked for you.
He did.
So you're aware that my brother was killed the night he was working here. What the fuck happened to my brother?
Alvarez, feigning innocence, dismisses the murder as part of gang rivalries. But Mark sees through the lie and warns the crime lord that if he's involved in his brother's death, he will face severe repercussions. As Mark exits the club, Alvarez, now furious and feeling threatened, orders his men to assemble a team to eliminate Mark. Later that night, Mark pays a visit to a local seaside bar known to be a gathering place for Alvarez's rivals.
Which of you is in charge?
As he steps in, the music halts, and the atmosphere grows tense.
Not a cop, you're in the wrong fucking place.
What is...
With calculated precision, Mark dismantles the group of thugs in a brutal hand-to-hand combat sequence, forcing the sole survivor to admit they had no involvement in Carl's murder. However, just as he's about to leave, reinforcements arrive, driving motorbikes through the bar and spraying the place with bullets. Enraged by this defiance, Alvarez orders a hit on Mark's mother. When the hitmen storm her house, they open fire, only to discover that she's missing, having narrowly escaped. Meanwhile, Nate arrives at the crime scene and learns about the failed attack. He rushes to Mark's house, where the two meet. Mark admits to killing Alvarez's men in self-defense and urges Nate to stand by him to save the island from Alvarez's stranglehold. Nate suggests speaking to Nora, who might have witnessed something. He gives Mark her address. The next day, Alvarez takes matters into his own hands, executing one of his own men for failing to carry out the kidnapping of Mark's mother. Meanwhile, Mark tracks down Nora, who is hiding in a motel, and persuades her to reveal the truth. She tearfully admits that Call's murder was sparked by a simple spilled drink, an insult that Alvarez couldn't tolerate. Mark promises her protection and arranges for her to escape the island, with Nate's help, by boat. That afternoon, Alvarez's men attack Aquila's home, but Mark is ready.
Still know how to shoot one of these?
Absolutely.
Armed and prepared for the ambush, Mark and Aquila fight side by side, unleashing a storm of gunfire as they fend off the attackers. Nate arrives just in time, and another intense shootout breaks out outside the compound. The surviving thugs retreat, but Nate is visibly shaken, warning Mark that Alvarez's control over the island is tightening. Alvarez soon discovers that Nora has fled the island and, in a violent, drug-fueled rage, kills one of his guards by forcing him to overdose. At the station, Nate organizes his evidence and entrusts it to a local priest, fearing he won't survive. Mark visits Tessian, intending to leave Yvonne and Aquila with him, but Aquila refuses to stay behind. She insists on fighting alongside Mark. Later that night, Nate arrives at the rendezvous but is ambushed. Beaten and dying, he is followed by cartel operatives who kidnap Aquila during a shootout. Mark cradles Nate in his final moments, recalling childhood memories to comfort him. The next day, a grief-stricken Mark rallies the community at church, revealing Manuel's crimes. The priest hands him Nate's envelope of evidence, including documents on Manuel's money laundering. Mark declares himself acting police chief and instructs the local officers to spread the word. He will face Manuel at the station. As he reviews the evidence, Phil surprisingly joins him, ready to help take down Manuel. Two local kids inform Mark they saw Manuel's right-hand man at an abandoned hotel, an ideal place to hold Aquila. Manuel calls to propose a trade, Aquila for Nora. Mark agrees and alerts Phil to prepare a rescue mission. The next day, Mark meets Manuel at the agreed location, stalling him while Phil rescues Aquila. Once she's safe, Mark tells Manuel he's lost, his men are dead, and it's over. Enraged, Manuel orders Mark's execution, but Mark disables the gunman. As the man prepares to shoot Mark from behind, Tessian arrives with armed villagers and kills him. Tessian wants to kill Manuel, but Mark insists on a fair fight. The two duel. Mark uses martial arts, Manuel wields a knife. Mark defeats and kills him in the same brutal way Akeem was murdered. With Manuel gone, the island is liberated from his tyranny. In the final scene, Mark and Aquila relax on the beach. Mark places a ring on her finger, symbolizing their reunion.